So the Seven of Pentacles is an interesting card because it marks a certain point in your journey of manifestation that kind of shows you along the way. You're not quite there yet, but you've come a long way. It is a card that shows you or tells you to keep going because the things that you're investing in, the things that you're putting work and attention into, it is growing. It just takes time and patience, which a lot of people don't have, especially when they want something so bad. I have three different decks here, and they kind of show a different point of view. When it comes to the Seven of Pentacles, you could be a pessimist, you could be an optimist at this card. This is the traditional deck. He's looking at his manifestations and he's admiring the process, right? Like if all these pentacles were roses on a rose bush, it takes a long time to start seeing roses. And once you do, you can like kind of sit back and look at how beautiful, everything has grown into itself. This card shows a more negative look on things where you're working so hard, and this man is looking down instead of looking up at all these beautiful huge spheres that he's created for himself, that are working. So it's really about, is the glass half full or is it half empty? It really is your point of view at this point in time because you're midway through your process of things. And with this more modern deck too, he's showing something growing. And if you've ever planted a seed, it takes a really long time to see the results of that seed in full effect. There's a lot of work happening beneath the surface when you grow a plant. And you, on the outside, looking down at the dirt, or the soil, let's just say, you will think that nothing's happening. You're like, is it working? I don't know, and you wait months to see the process, the fruits of your labor. So even though you might not be seeing all this work happening, you're growing your roots and they're growing. You just might not be seeing as much as you want to, right? So it's all about, again, just being able to pause and have like a state of gratitude from where you came from and what you're going towards. It's a sign, though, to keep going because it's working. It's just a slow progression, and that's what, time and diligence, is needed for. But it also is a card that shows you that you're almost there, right? Going to the Ten of Pentacles, like you're not far off from where you're going. You have been putting in the work. And you're getting successful things, starting to happen to you. So you may not be seeing all the fruits of your labor yet, but know that they exist. And it's just something that you have to wait on. It's time to fall into your faith of knowing that if you are doing the right thing and you're putting in the time and energy in a wholehearted way, you have to have faith that the outcome will come to you eventually. It takes longer than you want it to be. And that's where half of people fall off because they don't want to wait for the outcome. They want immediate results. They want immediate success. They want, all these, fast changing things to happen, but that doesn't necessarily happen. So, starting something from new, a lot of people fall off right away because it doesn't happen within 2 weeks or even 2 years. Maybe the third year is when you're successful. And a lot of people will quit before then. So it's time to pause and especially give thanks. We're in a time of thankful giving anyway. So it's kind of appropriate with the Seven of Pentacles to just sit in where you are right now and give thanks and gratitude for yourself on how far you've come to get where you're going, right? You are the living and breathing result of all of the things that you've been doing. You are an example of your, of just your work. You are your resume. You show it every day by who you are. It's not everything about what you have, what you get. It's about who you are. What are your morals? What do you do every day? Do you have discipline? Do you treat yourself well? Do you treat other people well? Things like that, right? All of your memories, all of your hopes and dreams, all of the things that have happened to you make up you uniquely, and you have to give thanks for growing. right? Because you are putting in the work and it's working, right? So this moment, this card gives you an interlude, if you will, to just kind of sit and meditate for a second and revisit what you think your purpose is, or where you want to go, what your goals are, because sometimes your goals don't work out, sometimes they do. So sometimes you need to take a time out and think about, all right, am I still on the right path? Am I doing the right things? Does something need to change, right? This is the time to reflect at this point in time of year and give thanks to where you're going and where you come from. It's also thankful for how maybe your life has shifted. It doesn't have to be grandiose goals that you can have. Of course, you can have a big goal, but small goals are really important too, because it gives you more of a dopamine hit when you hit a small goal. It gives you more inspiration to continue on with other goals that you have. So it could just be a huge thing in your life, or just a small thing that you're harvesting, if you will, or something that you want to change. That's a goal in itself as well. But try not to have a feeling of frustration at this time. Just because you might not see the progress happening as fast as you want it to. You got to remember that giant dreams aren't built in a day. An idea could be built in a day, but to fulfill a dream takes time and dedication, right? It takes like your whole heart to do. So you have to take a moment at this time, in this kind of feeling of the Seven of Pentacles, take time to breathe for a second. It's like going for, a 100-mile run and you stop halfway through, at 50 miles. Give yourself a time to just reflect on everything you just did. Give yourself a break, refuel, get yourself re-inspired, and go the rest of the, 50 miles. The meditation part is so huge, because even athletes use it. It's not just physicality that gets you through something hard. Of course, you have to condition your body and you have to be strong physically, but you also have to be strong mentally. There's a lot of visualization that good athletes do to get them even further along in their success, whatever they're doing. So you have to firmly envision it in your head. You have to incantate the things to yourself that are positive, right? And you have to be able to like talk and visualize, something that you want to happen in your body. So say you want to do something like, I don't know, lift a certain amount of weight that you can't do. Start visualizing yourself doing that weight in your head now. Eventually your body's going to keep, catch up to your head about it. It's about visualization and staying headstrong, feeding yourself the right knowledge, not talking down at yourself. Because if you're like, I can't do this, this hurts, this is never going to happen, it's never going to happen, because you're telling yourself that. Like, you have to listen to yourself say good things to yourself. It really is true about just giving yourself time to reflect, so you can keep going, because you are halfway there. So at this point, this card basically says to take a few deep breaths along your journey. They're sacred breaths. Every breath you take can calm you down or just focus yourself, in a sense, and they will invigorate you at the same time, because breath is cleansing. So just take a pause and give thanks about, everything that you're about to harvest, everything that you're about to see, all the work that you've put into something, and know that your life is headed in the right direction.